YouTube, what is good? So to start off this haircut, we're gonna grab our number 4 guard and we're gonna go ahead and debulk the sides. And the reason I want to take down the sides first is because it's been a while since he's had a haircut, and I want to make sure that we have a nice clean canvas to work with, so it's a lot easier to stay organized. And you'll notice as I'm using the 4 guard, I'm not trying to create a harsh line. I'm coming off the shape of his head towards the top, and that's because I want to be able to blend this in a lot easier with my scissor over a comb. So you want to make sure that you're just coming off the shape of his head. And you'll see towards the back, I'm leaving a lot of the weight in the crown area, and that's because this specific client has, a thinner spot up there, so I want to keep it as full looking as I possibly can. And now we're gonna go ahead and start the fade. So we're gonna establish a bald line right there where the top of his arch would start, and we're gonna follow that straight back, and we're gonna drop it towards the back just a little bit, to keep the crown area as full as we can. And the reason we decided to get rid of his arches is because they weren't that prominent. So if we blend those out, it'll make the haircut look a lot better and last a little longer. So now we're gonna use our trimmer to go ahead and bald everything out. And we're letting the weight of the trimmer do the work here. This client has really sensitive skin, so I'm not trying to press too hard, because as you can see, his neck is already getting slightly red. And yes, my trimmers are 0 gapped, in order to give sharp lines and really get that bald as close to the skin as possible. And now for the next step, we're going to come in with our lever all the way open on our JRLs. And we are going to go up about a thumb's width. I would say it's equivalent to like a full inch. And we're going to continue to maintain that same shape that we created with our bald line. And in this haircut tutorial, I faded one side off camera, so I'm only going to be showing the other side. So that's why it looks halfway blended. But I'm just going over that guideline, trying to make sure that it's all even and truly a lever all the way open. And now to get rid of that line, I'm going to come in closed. And as I move up within that guideline, I'll go ahead and open up that lever. So I'm tapping at that line, going up just a little bit. And then right there, I opened it up a quarter of the way. And then we'll do that all the way up until we're fully open, and that should pretty much blend out that line. And my clippers are 0 gapped as well, because that helps get rid of that bald line that I established with my trimmer. But we're just staying patient here, just trusting the process. And you'll see as we continue to do this, that line is looking, as blended out as we can get it. And then there's always time to go back in detail. And now let's get into the next step. We're going to come in with our 1 guard all the way open. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going up about a thumb's width. And we're going to continue to maintain that shape. So when establishing my guidelines, I always come in with the lever open. And then to blend them out, I'll go ahead and close that lever and use the guard length right under it, right? So after I do this 1 guard open, I'll go ahead and close that lever to lighten up the line. And then I'll come in with my half guard open, and that should pretty much blend out that line. So right here I have my half guard, like I said, with the lever open. And we're just tapping at that line. And you'll see with this client, he has a lot of indentations in his scalp. So when we go back in detail, we're going to use a lot of the corner of the blade in order to get into those dark areas and make this blend look super fluid and even. And you'll see I'm opening and closing that lever a lot. That's because I'm just trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And don't be scared to go up within that guideline to blend it out. So we're going to follow that up with our 2 guard all the way open. And if you remember, we debulked the sides with the 4, so we're gonna leave off with this 2 guard open right where we left off with that 4 guard. And we're coming off the shape of his head just like we did at the beginning, and that's because we want to maintain that weight along his parietal ridge area, because if not, it would look like a faux hawk look, which we don't want. And now to get rid of that line between the 1 open and the 2 open, we have our 1.5 with the lever all the way open. And then after we come in open and see it's not doing the job, we'll go ahead and close it gradually. And I'm showing you guys this cut because not every client has the perfect head, right? I can get a pretty good haircut on this client, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of detail in order to get that finished and polished look. So I wanted to show you guys that you know, it's all in the detail, it's all in going back and following up the work you already did in order to give it that super polished and clean look. So I came back to my 1 guard here, and we're just trying to detail, get it looking as blurry as we possibly can. And now to blend into the length on top, I'm gonna do some clipper over comb. And as you guys know, I usually use a flat top comb, but in this case I'm just using a regular comb. And I'm coming in with that comb and flaring out slightly, and any hair sticking out of it I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of with my clipper. And my clipper is with the lever all the way open, and this should pretty much get us blended into that length on top. And now to go ahead and soften up that blend into the length on top, I'm using my thinning shears. So I'm doing the same thing, coming in with the comb, flaring out slightly, and then any hair sticking out I'm gonna go ahead and cut with my shears. And now to blend into the beard, we're gonna come in with our lever all the way open, and we're basically just reverse blending, right? So instead of going upwards, we're going downwards. So I went in open, now I'm coming in with my 1 guard open, and that should pretty much blend into the beard. And now we're gonna get into the trim on top. So I'm gonna go ahead and dampen the client's hair, get it ready for the scissor work. Alright, so for the trim, usually I divide the hair in 3 sections, but today I'm just gonna lift it up and go back. So I'm gonna take off about, I would say, a little over ½ an inch, and we're gonna follow this all the way throughout the head. So I'm starting in the middle, and then I'm gonna use that front guideline and just pull that back towards the other, and you'll be able to see the length that you're supposed to cut it to through the hair. Staying real clean, real organized, so we don't get lost in the scissor work. And then we're gonna comb it forward and then move towards his right side, and you'll see the length difference right there. And then we'll go ahead and cut everything to that length. And I'm being careful towards his corners because it is thinner there, that I don't cut the area too short, because in order to give his hairline the illusion of it being super full, we need that length in the corners, right, to go ahead and cover up that thin area. So I want to be careful that I don't cut that area too short. But now we're going to move towards the left side of his head, doing the same thing. And this is a pretty simple trim. You know, there's not any layers to it. It's just an all even trim. But now we're going to go ahead and cross check our work. So we're going to go horizontally now and make sure that this is all even. Follow that straight back. Because what most barbers do, especially when they're starting from the front and then going backwards as they trim like I did, is they'll make the front super short, and as they get towards the back it's a lot longer. So I'm going ahead and I'm cross-checking to make sure that it's all even so it lays down nicely. And now we're gonna go ahead and dry the hair. And I'm using a Dyson Blowdryer here, and if you guys know, this is a pretty expensive blow dryer, but it is a great investment. I do not regret buying it, but I'm just using it to go ahead and dry the hair and get into the lineup. So I want to go ahead and comb his hairline forward. Now for his lineup, we're gonna go ahead and start in the middle of his head, and in this case we're gonna move towards his right side first. If you guys were doing it, you can go to either side you feel more comfortable with, but in this case I chose his right side. And we're trying to get it as sharp and as crispy as possible, while at the same time keeping it as natural as possible, right? And you can really see the reason why I wanted to keep his corners as full looking as we possibly could. And that's because I want to give him a sharp lineup, right? I want to give it the illusion that his hair is fuller than it actually is. And it's always important, especially when lining up a hairline that has bangs, to comb the hair over and over to make sure that you get all those hairs that would lay over the hairline after they take a shower or after you comb it. So you want to make sure you get all of those. And now we're gonna line up his box area, keeping it as natural as we possibly can. And now we're gonna go to the other side and do the same thing. And we are going to enhance his vertical bar just a little bit to make it look a lot sharper, a lot fuller. And you'll see it'll take it to a whole nother level. And now we're going to get into his beard. So we're going to lower his mustache to a 1 guard with the lever all the way open. And this client's mustache is super thick. Even when I use shave gel to line up the top of it, man, it's super hard to not cut him. So I want to be careful around his mustache area. So we're cleaning up the bottom of his lip. And now we're gonna go to the top, clean that up as well. And now we're gonna clean up his neck. So we're just gonna follow the line that's already there, get rid of all those hairs that are at the bottom, make it look a lot cleaner. And I know about y'all, man, that blend is looking super clean. This beard is really gonna set it off. And if you guys can tell right here in the back of the beard, he was lining up his own beard and he pushed it in a lot. So I went ahead and lined it up where it naturally should be at. And now it's just a process of letting that grow back in. So that's why I left his beard so far out, and there's like a a difference in length there. So we're gonna start now to line up the top of his beard. So we're gonna start towards the bottom of his beard. We're gonna establish that line, and now we're gonna go to the top, and then we're gonna connect those 2 points in the middle. And that's how we're going to get that nice clean round shape on that beard line without digging into it too much. And now we're going to add some enhancement to his beard as well. So we're going to use our brush right here, and we're just going to put it on the line super light. We don't want to make it look painted on. And we're just going to apply it to that lighter area. And now I'm going to reline it with my razor, get that nice white ash line. But fam, this is how my client came in looking super rough. This is how we left leaving. If this video helped you in any way, shape, or form, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And drop a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this cut. But again, I will catch y'all next time.